Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Founders Grid, sponsored by Gaper.io. Today we have Ziad. Ziad is the founder and chief executive at Design&DC. Ziad, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, tell us a bit more about your role at Design&DC, apart from also as well as what you do. You're, I believe, also a visiting professor at the universities, I believe.
Yes, thank you for that question. So, my name is Ziad, founder and CEO at Design in DC. And basically, what I do here at Design in DC is try to help create digital solutions for businesses around the DMV and also nationally and then globally. So, our idea here at Design in DC is global equals local. So, this kind of starting from the community, using the community and local kind of work with nonprofits and independent companies here, small businesses. And then from there, also kind of creating a connection between the local communities and the international communities is part of our goal here at Design in DC. Sorry, I don't know if I answered your question
I think
correctly.
it's going fine. So, 4 years now, how the journey has been?
The journey has been great. I mean, it really started from, my partner and I, who at first it was just us two. And we slowly grew a team. And I think it was our ability to be resourceful and also have always the client's goals in mind and going above and beyond. Sometimes even even at the point where it was not profitable for us, or I wouldn't say not profitable, even when we were losing money, we always put the client above our immediate kind of needs. And in doing that, it really helped create a long-term relationship. And in creating those long-term partnerships, then we were able to grow as a company because clients kept on coming back and wanting more and more services. So, it's about having those long-term partnerships for us and not these one-off services. And that's like what we prioritize here at Design in DC.
Okay, interesting. So, just trying to keep the conversation much more relevant to uh, recent times, right? So, COVID, unfortunate times because of COVID. So,
Mhm.
how has it affected Design in DC? Because for some businesses, COVID has been a catalyst, but for majority, things haven't been. So, how has it affected Design in DC?
So, when COVID happened, it obviously affected a lot of small businesses all across DC and the world. But for us, we were kind of set up for that new world that came out of COVID. We were already preferred working kind of remotely and had we do meet our clients in person often as well, but we have our remote setup there. And establishing the skills of working remotely became a big part of our training process, from 2 years ago. And also pushing our clients to working remotely, just because that saves time, saves energy. It can make our timelines faster when we're trying to finish projects. So we had already been pushing towards that. We use Slack a lot, both for our internal conversations and for our conversations with clients. And that has really helped. Oh, and also other programs like Figma. That's a design tool which allows the clients to kind of comment on our designs in real time. And even from the development side, we give them a live link where they can see our developers developing in real time. So at once being remote, but also transparent. And I think that can often be difficult when you're remote, you can hide behind the computer, if you will. And there's a fear around that. So knowing how to navigate that and still having full transparency and making your clients trust you, some people that may have never met you before in person, is a
True.
big part of establishing that kind of remote culture that we want to do here at Design in DC.
True. True. So, which brings me to my next question. Being a founder, you have to wear multiple hats, looking
Mm.
after the creativity, managing the existing customer, new sales call, banking, payroll, HR, right? So, managing all over Zoom and Google Meets, how's the experience been, and what are the three productivity hacks that you've done in your life to manage things better?
Wow, that's a great question. For me, when I was first starting out um, with Design in DC, I some of the people around me are like, "How are you going to do this many things?" Because I'm also a filmmaker. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a professor, and I'm an owner of a design agency. And really, it came down to trusting your teammates, but not just blind trust, trusting people, putting them in the correct positions, providing the strategies around them and the training, and really just thinking higher level kind of decisions, not trying to get bogged down with the nitty gritty kind of details. Trust the people that you hired to do the work, right? And if they're not doing the work, then you have to find somebody that does, or maybe move that person that's not doing the work right to a different position, right? So um, for me, I was going to say one more thing. I lost it. What question? One more time. Sorry.
So, the three productivity hacks that you've developed in your
Oh,
life, in your daily routine during COVID to be able to manage things efficiently. Some have gone like, we're not going to take Zoom calls on Wednesday because it's getting overwhelming for us. Those kind of hacks that you've
so
done.
exactly. So our creative director Jordan Silvera, he really helped in terms of pushing the leadership team to understand this idea of dealing with things on a higher level and creating presentations. I would say like having my leader and my different elements of my team create presentations for myself and the rest of the leadership team has really been, one of the things that has stood out that has dramatically changed our business. Before, our meetings used to be kind of endlessly going on about, oh, what about this email? What about no, with not a lot of direction? And it was just kind of sometimes all over the place. But the moment we had a presentation prepared, like there was presentation from the VP of sales, presentation from the financial team, presentation from HR, presentation from, each side of our company, my founder and the rest of the leadership team were able to come into those meetings, get a quick high level overview, make decisions, um, based on the numbers that they're giving us, based on the data, the analytics, from an SEO standpoint. So we do one for SEO, one for marketing, financial, and sales, and then make those higher level decisions that we can really think strategically, how can we help our team achieve their goals, but really pushing our team to be leaders in the sense that we are not dictating to them what to do, but we are rather kind of providing that support, um,
Uh,
to give them the tools that they need to succeed, but not necessarily to tell them do A, do B, do C. Because that to me, when you get into that type of leadership, it can be quite, it can slow down the growth of your leadership team, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. Last question in regards to creativity of designs, of ideas. So there are multiple things you can do over Zoom. So in Gaper, I look after sales and marketing, right? So I am an extrovert by nature. I get my energy from people, and for me, it has been a very big challenge of doing everything over Zoom and all. So with creative individuals, I've heard that they need to zone out, they need to have their board sessions, they need to have their whiteboard session in order to come up with new creative ideas, over pizza, over beers, and things like that, right? So are you facing any challenges like that? And the follow-on question is, once the vaccine is out, once the world go back to normal, will you adapt to the existing practices that you have learned in the last 6 months, or you would want to go back to the old self office, meeting rooms, and things like
Yes, these are two really good questions. So I guess I'll. Oh, actually, remind me of the first question again because I got focused on the second one.
that? Yeah. So
What?
the first question was primarily in regards to creativity over Zoom.
Yes. So that's a really good question, and a challenge that I've faced as a filmmaker, as a professor, and as a design agency owner, and CEO. It's how do you get the best creative output out of the people you hire? And the answer really is it's different for every person. I One of the things that I do like about our agency is that our people travel. They're not all staying in one place, and I've heard a lot about traveling doing great things for creativity. If you're in one place and you're constantly going through the same routine every day, things can start to get stale. But the moment you see like a new place, you see a new culture, a new language, it gets your mind to think outside of the box a little bit because, you know, uh, it can blow your mind a little bit. Like this is a different world, a different, environment in terms of the geography, in terms of how we interact with one another, cultures, and that in itself can make you as a designer look at a problem or how you're approaching designing a website in a different way. And to me, the first kind of point to solving a problem from a design standpoint, or actually from any standpoint in our company, is to ask a question, and not just to ask a question, but to be self-critical. Like, not this is the best or this is the standard, or every client that we design for has a different kind of need, right? Not and it's not just about giving them the best designs. It's about giving them the design that where you we have the content and the design communicating with one another, and all the different pieces of the messaging coming together where there's interaction between. That's what we mean by interactive design. It's not static design where it's just beautiful design and the content is different. The two are interacting with one another, which is why we like to do a lot of animations and movement with our development as well, and also in our video and custom illustration work.
True, true, true.
And then the
So
second question was in terms of going
back to office. Yeah.
to the office. So for me, I don't think too much will change. The idea of having half remote, half in person is really attractive for me because
Okay.
we don't, in a way, I don't feel like we always have to be in person to do the work,
True.
but and that's what this new COVID world has kind of taught us and really put us, has allowed us, not just us, but the whole world, to kind of test out how that would look in
Yeah.
terms of not being in person in every scenario. But also, we do believe that being in person is very important in terms of establishing that trust. Them knowing where your physical office is, not that you're just like kind of offshoring it to some other country and you have like some kind of accountability. So, something that my founder and I we do is we love, even after the project is done, we like to take our clients out to lunch. Anytime we're kind of in the in the area, if it's a different country or city, we'll make some time to reach out to our clients there, because it's all about building relationships and having that trust between one another, because we believe that a business relationship has to be mutually beneficial. Like, it's not something that should just be this kind of transactional type of deal, but rather something that we're providing you value, and
True,
you are, providing us value as a client.
true. So yeah, thank you so much for being on the show. It was fun talking to you. I'm pretty sure we could have spoken for another 15 to 30 minutes, but my marketing team kind of like, they just cut the podcast. Yeah, you guys, you heard me, you cut the podcast. But thank you so much, Ziad. Take care of
Well, thank
yourself.
you so
Stay
much.
safe.
I appreciate your time.
Stay safe.